Say it ain't so, say it ain't so. Hello everybody, welcome to an episode of NeoUnrealist where we have got to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse saying that his lawyers apparently kept him in jail deliberately so that they could raise more money off of him and profit personally off of this. What is going on? Let's do a quick dive into this and see what the situation is. So obviously, I'm sure all of you know that there is a $2 million bail fund that is being jockeyed over right now by the Rittenhouse original lawyers. I believe it's John Pierce and Lynn Wood, and the Rittenhouse, the representatives today, that would be David Hancock. But here we have Rittenhouse making the accusation during last night's interview that was, well, I don't think the interview was last night, but it was played last night on Fox News on the Tucker Carlson program, where he made these accusations. Rittenhouse criticized Wood and John Pierce, another fellow former attorney of his, during a lengthy interview with Fox News' Tucker Carlson on Monday night, days after he was found not guilty on all charges, including 2 counts of homicide. So let's go into that. We have the interview. First, I guess we should listen to Kyle describe the conditions of his incarceration, which, at least for a brief time, seemed quite horrific. Let's see what Kyle had to say about the conditions he was kept in.
In the juvenile facility, you're 17, but then you turn 18, you go to Kenosha County Jail.
Actually, I go to Kenosha County Jail as I'm 17. I'm in adult jail. At October 31st, I'm extradited, which I agree with. I wanted to go to Kenosha County Jail from the beginning. I was extradited to Kenosha County Jail. My attorney, John Pierce, said, we're going to keep you in juvenile facility. I always wanted to be extradited, and I had no problem with that. But he forgot to file the saying. He didn't even know I was going. So my attorney didn't know I was going to jail, which is quite sickening because he should have known.
Okay, so gotta stop it right there real quick. Kyle accuses his attorney of not, Pierce, of not having any clue that he was being moved. And remember, he went from a basically juvenile detention facility to an adult holding facility in Wisconsin. So totally different situation. I mean, he's right. If that is the case, yeah, you would hope your lawyer would have some kind of clue, and didn't file any kind of stay to stop that. If that was in fact what Kyle wanted, but it seems like Kyle wanted to be extradited. So let's hear further.
Well, yeah, the whole point of an attorney.
Yeah, right. Thank God I have competent counsel now.
Yeah.
But the jail was interesting. I was in my own room. It was kind of like a one-star, I'm going to describe it as a one-star hotel. A one-star hotel. We'll go with a Super 8.
Super 8.
I had a desk, I had a shower, I had a toilet, I had a TV, I had a tablet, but I didn't have running water.
Seriously?
I had a phone also, but I did not have running water, so I didn't shower until November 20th.
How long
From
is that?
October 31st to November 20th, I did not take a shower.
That's disgusting.
Sounds like he didn't shower for 3 weeks. Now just imagine 3 weeks being held in a jail cell with no access to running water, no shower. Yikes.
Disgusting. I smelled terrible. I felt sick. I lost weight. My health was degrading. If I was in there for a month longer, I would have probably been in a hospital.
Wait, you had no running water?
No running water in my jail cell.
Did they let you out?
To talk with my attorneys. I didn't really say anything about my running water because I don't like to bring attention to myself. I didn't want to draw any problems with any of the guards. So I was like, I'm just gonna shut up and not mention that I don't have running water. But I didn't shower until November 20th. And when I showered, I took like a 3-hour shower. I had like blood. My skin was bleeding because my skin was coming off of my body. It was just the nastiest thing ever. And I feel bad for Dave, who's been with me through the beginning, who's helped start
Dave Hancock.
FreeKyleUSA.org. I feel bad for him because he had to deal with my smell for that 3-hour car ride. So I give him all the credit in the world.
All right, so just wanted to give you an idea that he wasn't being held in Club Med, obviously. So Rittenhouse, in this part of the interview, just says that his attorneys, kept him in jail on purpose, and that they could have gotten him out. Let's listen to that.
You get arrested, what happens then?
Once I'm arrested, I go to Depke Juvenile Facility, and I gotta say thank you to them for their professionalism. And
the jailers,
the guards at Depke, they were the utmost professional.
All right, so
people.
remember here he's talking about the guards at the juvenile facility he was being held at in Illinois. This was when he first got arrested, before he was extradited. I played these two out of order, so that's why it might be a little jarring.
I've ever met.
Really?
Exactly. They were some of the most professional people I've ever met. It was amazing. Like, they treated me with respect, and they didn't talk down to you like you've seen in some videos. They just treated me like I was a human.
How long were you there?
I was in jail for 87 days, and this follows in with Lynn Wood, who Lynn Wood was raising money on my behalf, and he held me in jail for 87 days, disrespecting my...
Notice the word he says there as I cut him off. He says Lynn Wood held me in jail for 87 days. Not the state. They gave him bail. All he had to do was pay the bail.
My wishes put me on media interviews, which I should never have done, which he said, oh, you're going to go talk to the Washington Post, which was not a good idea. Along with John Pierce, they said I was safer in jail instead of at home with my family. And then after I'm bailed
Your lawyer said that?
My lawyer said that. John Pierce and Lynn Wood.
87 days is a long time to be in jail.
It was very long. I lost a lot of weight in there. I since then gained it back.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. But 87 days of not being with my family,
3 months,
defending myself, and being taken advantage to, being used for a cause by John Pierce and Lynn Wood.
Okay, 3 months. He didn't have to be in there 3 months. They had the money to get him out. You heard him there. He says he was taken advantage of by Wood and Pierce.
Trying to trying to raise money so they can take it for their own benefit, not trying to set me free.
So you think they could have raised the money for bail faster, but they didn't?
I believe sometime in September 5th, I want to say, they had over $1 million, and bail was set and able to be posted in September. So they could have had me sign the waiver for extradition and had me back in Wisconsin, and I could have been bailed out by mid-September. But they wanted to keep me in jail until November 20th.
What was that like?
It was scary in jail. You had to watch over yourself, and not a lot of people liked me in jail until they... The funny thing is, a lot of people didn't like me in jail, but they got to hear my story, and they got to understand me. He's actually a really decent person. I'm not this person that the media painted him out to be. And it was scary, but I was able to make friends, I'd say, acquaintance in jail, and play spades, card games with them.
Amazing. So you're in jail for 87 days. Do you have a sense of how your case is being talked about in the outside world?
Not really when I'm in jail, but once I am bailed out, John Pierce said I was in an unorganized militia, which is just blatantly
All right, so
false.
let me stop it there. This is a different thing that he's going to talk about. So Kyle Rittenhouse believes he was kept in jail longer than was necessary so that his attorneys could benefit financially from his incarceration and continue to raise more and more money, for their benefit, as I said. Now he's going to go into his attorney Pierce putting out that he was associated with some unorganized militia, which again, Kyle Rittenhouse is going to claim He didn't even know what a militia was at the time, let alone was a member of any.
Know what a militia was. And
Wait, your lawyer said you were in a militia?
John Pierce said that, and it's blatantly false. I didn't know what a militia was until after the fact, until November 25th, after I was watching some of the interviews he did. I was like, I'm not in a militia. I don't know what that is.
Sorry to laugh.
And I was like, what the heck? And I'm like, no wonder people are saying I'm in a militia. It's because he painted that narrative, which he should never have gone there.
Well, yeah, it's untrue.
Exactly.
Were you surprised so I haven't heard you mention race at all in this conversation. You said...
Okay, so going into some different issues there, we're very concerned about this now because according to Kyle, and I don't see why he would be making this up, that they were defying his wishes. He did not want to remain in jail longer than was necessary. They were making claims to him that he'd be safer in jail. This is very disturbing. So, also last night you had Viva and Barnes talking on Viva Frey's YouTube channel. I highly recommend you go see this video. And Barnes has his own window on what was happening with Linwood and was it Pierce? And let's listen to what Barnes is saying. And this goes back to the bail money issue and the now struggle over who gets the money.
But putting that aside, some of us were there from the get-go. Some of us predicted this outcome back 2 days after the incident, that Kyle would be acquitted of all charges because he was innocent and always innocent. But in this context, the bail was posted $2 million by Fight Back Foundation. It was done through John Pierce's law firm. John Pierce has now publicly, there was a period of time when unfortunately Johnny Boy was not being nice and was hinting that maybe he could get a piece of that money because he was the one who was the courier, if you will, who delivered it. And I was critical of him for that and kept being critical of him for that. And finally he came to Jesus and discovered that he has no interest whatsoever in those funds, and has publicly said it never was. He had no interest, but he at least now publicly has admitted, I'm not entitled to a penny of that. So what that leaves is a fight. Now, when your bail funds, while your trial is pending, in Wisconsin, there's this sort of tricky thing that happens legally. The bail funds belong to the defendant during the proceedings while it is functioning as bail. So, for example, if there's a criminal sentencing and there's fines issued, they can use the bail money to pay those fines and so forth. However, once the criminal case is terminated, the legal custody and ownership of those bail funds return to the people who raised the funds, who deposited the funds. So the $2 million is now...
Do you see why Pierce seemed to be eager to be the one, to be the courier, the person that gave the funds to the state of Wisconsin? That meant that at the end, when they returned the money, they returned it to him.
Shifted to the Fight Back Foundation. During the period of time I was representing Kyle, I had a very good settlement terms with the Fight Back Foundation to make sure a large portion of those funds, most of those funds, would go to Kyle and to all the things he needs, legal and security and otherwise. David Hancock turned down that offer because he wanted all the $2 million under his custody and control. And so and now that's where it stands. So legally, the Fight Back Foundation, if there's a legal fight, they'll win that. They'll have all that money come back to them. Linwood may take the position that he doesn't trust those funds to actually be used for Kyle's benefit as long as David Hancock is attached to or associated with those funds. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Lynn come out and say, I'm happy to have every penny of that if the donors want it. Some of that money, the people who donated did donate it only for bail.
Yeah, so here's where it gets complicated, guys. I'm going to go into it after we finish with this Viva and Barnes clip. It's not black and white in terms of the Fight Back Foundation and the stuff with the David Hancock. It's a little complicated. Some of that money, we'll go into it, the details. Let's finish listening to them.
The expectation it would be returned. That's why some of that money would need to be returned. But I think the foundation believed that they could get a lot of their donors to say, we want to supply this for the other defense of Kyle moving forward. He has security needs and legal needs on an ongoing basis, and just to be able to stay alive, again, people were making death threats against him the day after the verdict, the day of the verdict, that he would do that if it's someone other than David Hancock that controls the funds. And so that wouldn't surprise me. But legally, Fight Back Foundation would be entitled to those funds, and they would get to determine where they go from there with some consultation with their donors. And I don't think it will ever go to David. It will never. Kyle won't see those funds as long as David Hancock would be the one in control or custody of them.
But the question is this then: if they get those funds back, who paid the legal fees? Have been paid from the second round of fundraising or crowdsourcing, and not from the initial.
Yeah. I helped raise over $600,000 that paid for all of that.
So overall, close to $3 million has been crowdsourced,
Over
raised.
$3 million, because there was on top of the $2 million, Lynn Wood paid about $400,000 to John Pierce. I think it was $350,000, $360,000 and change.
Wow.
John Pierce hosed the kid for his extradition representation. So I still and I'm getting emails every other day from people that he purports to represent that are January 6th defendants. They're like, we've never seen the guy. We don't know if he's doing anything. So I still got my issues with John Pierce. That ain't gone away. But at least he's no longer a hurdle at all in Kyle's case. And at this point, the real hurdle is to those funds going to Kyle's benefit is actually David Hancock. As long as Kyle Mark Richards goes on CNN and says to the world that he told Kyle, you need to start saying no to some of these advisors. Well, there's only one. It's David Hancock. So unfortunately, I don't know if I would have appeared on Tucker right away after the verdict.
Right. So the long story short, Barnes's position is the bad guy here, not Lynn Wood, but Kyle's advisor, David Hancock. So this appears to be a Manichaean struggle between Hancock and Lynn Wood now, where Lynn Wood holds that the funds probably wouldn't be used to Kyle's benefit, that this Hancock guy, if he got his hands on it, would have ulterior motives. So let's look at the Daily Beast write-up of this thing. Kyle Rittenhouse's high-profile murder trial came to an end on Friday with an acquittal, but the legal fight over the fate of his $2 million bail money is just beginning. Immediately after the jury in Kenosha, Wisconsin ruled Rittenhouse not guilty, his defense team filed to have the Illinois teen receive the bail money that was raised on his behalf. So the team of Richards and Sharofsky made a motion to return the money to Kyle directly. But a nonprofit led by controversial defamation lawyer and QAnon conspiracy theorist Lynn Wood has also filed a... Is Lynn Wood, in fact, a QAnon conspiracy theorist? Not even sure. Has also filed a motion seeking the money. There's going to be a fight over that, Rittenhouse attorney Mark Richards said after the verdict. The money was initially raised after Rittenhouse's bail was set at a staggering $2 million in November 2020, following a ruling from a court official that Rittenhouse's hefty potential sentence and potential supporters meant he could become a flight risk. Conservative celebrities like Wood swung into action to raise enough money to get Rittenhouse out of jail ahead of his trial. So remember, guys, you had was it Mike Lindell? He gave $50,000 to the bail fund, I believe. Ricky Schroeder gave $150,000. Remember the former child star Silver Spoons? Wasn't he also an NYPD Blue later in his career? Anyway, he apparently loaned $150,000. So that's where this gets complicated. Ricky Schroeder gave $150,000, but as a loan. So obviously when the bail money is returned, he's supposed to get that money back. All right, so not all this money, not all the $2 million is intended or earmarked to stay with Kyle. Some of it is loaned. Another $500,000 of that money, believe it or not, was raised by Kyle's mother, Wendy Rittenhouse. So again, that's another chunk of that money, about $500,000. That is not really money from outside sources. So $500,000 from Wendy Rittenhouse, Kyle's mother, her various fundraising that she did. $150,000 loan from Ricky Schroeder. You had $50,000 from Mike Lindell. I don't know if he was wanting his money back. Somehow I doubt it. So you see, it's not as cut and dry as it wasn't just like it was like a $2 million GoFundMe or something like that. So in an interview with the Daily Beast, Lin Wood argued that his foundation is rightfully owed the money. So Wood is claiming that his group spent over $700,000 on attorney's fees and other expenses for Rittenhouse aside from the $2 million bail. Now, I will agree, it would be only fair for Wood to recoup any expenses he incurred for any work he did on the trial. $700,000, though, seems somewhat excessive to me. I mean, the Fight Back Foundation, to me, the biggest thing that they did was put together a video. And guys, as a YouTuber, granted, I'm not saying that the video wasn't sophisticated and well made, but I'm just telling you right now, it does not take $700,000 to put together like a 10 or 15, 20-minute video. I'm sorry. I mean, this is outrageous. I mean, what did they get? Industrial Light and Magic to do this thing? Was there CGI involved? I mean, come on. The bail money has to be returned in its entirety to Fight Back. So legally, Robert Barnes, you heard him in that little clip there. He's right. The state has to give the money to Fight Back legally. In his first post-verdict interview with Fox News' Tucker Carlson that aired Monday night, Rittenhouse tore into both Wood and another former Rittenhouse attorney, John Pierce, claiming he was taken advantage of by both men. According to Rittenhouse, Pierce convinced him it was not a good idea to go home immediately and told the teenager he'd be safer in jail than with his family. Additionally, he said both Wood and Pierce were merely trying to raise money so they could take it for their own benefit rather than set him free. I don't know, guys. There's a lot of... It seems to me there's a lot of people that are using and advancing, their own interests with Kyle's here. I mean, using Kyle for it as a cause. Then you had the stuff with Kyle was not happy that he was being lumped in with some unnamed organized militia. The allegations that Pierce didn't know that he was being moved from the juvenile facility to the Kenosha City Jail in October. So let's see here. Pierce did not immediately return a request for comment about the Rittenhouse interview. Prior to the Rittenhouse interview, Wood insisted his group put up hefty sums to keep the teen out of jail. In addition to making a $2 million bail, Fight Back paid about $700,000 in it for his attorney's fees and expenses of litigation, including spending money to produce the videotape that was kind of the start to finish of what happened, Wood said in a call Monday afternoon. So again, yes, they made the video. Yes, they should be entitled to a compensation for any costs and incurred for the making of that video, but $700,000? Come on. The total bail money, which included $500,000 contributed by Rittenhouse's mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, was given to the court by then Rittenhouse lawyer Pierce. Rittenhouse fired Pierce from his legal team in February, but Pierce still holds the receipt for the bail, meaning it would likely go directly to him. Pierce has faced plenty of debts of his own and was recently in the news as a go-to attorney for January 6 riot defendants who briefly vanished under mysterious circumstances. But Pierce claims he wants no part of the Rittenhouse money. So his public position as of today is he doesn't want the money. And so he's claiming that he doesn't want any of it. In a November 8th court filing, Pierce asked a federal court in Texas to decide who should receive the money before he uses the receipt to take it out of the Wisconsin court. So he wants the court to determine who should get the money. He's afraid, apparently, that if he takes it out and gives it to one of the parties, that he will be sued by the other party, and obviously he doesn't want to be sued. So he initiated this legal action in the Texas court preemptively. He says, "I have no view on who should get the bail money back," Pierce told the Daily Beast in an email, but Wood remains firm on what he says is Pierce's sticky relationship with the truth. "John Pierce told us we had to either deliver the money in person or we could send it to his trust account and he would give the court a certified check," Wood told the Daily Beast. "We then found out months later that John Pierce, when he paid the bail, said that it was supposed to be returned to him at his home address. And then we got Pierce to give us a release because that's not true. Richards has repeatedly slammed Pierce and Woods' handling of the case in the wake of the verdict. This is Richards, Kyle's lead defense attorney at trial. In a Friday interview on CNN, Richards said Pierce and Wood were trying to whore this kid out for money to their own causes. Yes, that's a quote, guys. They were raising tons of money on him, Richards said. Richards added that Wood was an idiot and predicted that Wood would sue him over the criticism. The remarks did indeed prompt Wood to send Richards an email threatening to sue him unless the lawyer retracted his claim that Wood is an idiot. You can't make this shit up, guys. So far, Richards hasn't backed down from the insult. There won't be a retraction for what I said because it's the truth, Richards affirmed during a Monday night CNN interview. I mean, is he really gonna go to court to sue him to retract that he called him an idiot? Anyway, so the bottom line is there's now this ugly fight over the bail money. I don't know. I don't know where this goes from here, guys. It just seems to me that a lot of people got their hand in Kyle Rittenhouse's pockets, and it seems to me I'm not even sure which one of them has his best interest at heart. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and see if this kid gets screwed. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. Barnes seems to have a good insight into this. So if he says that, if Rittenhouse says he's being screwed over, Barnes says that these characters are all shady. Who's the good guy here? I don't know. That's all for this NeoUnrealist. If you want to help the channel, do me a favor, hit like for this video, leave a comment below, and mash down to that subscribe button if you're not already subbed to the channel. Click on that notification bell next to it, and you put it on the all setting to keep up with newer content. If you want to contribute directly to the channel, you want to toss your hard-earned dollars into the tip jar, follow the links below to Patreon, Subscribe Star, or PayPal, whichever you like to use most. Or if you watch this on BitChute when it uploads there later, you can just click on the green tip pledge button on the video player itself. Most importantly, guys, thanks for watching.